Hey guys, so I am in a 2017 Ford F350 dually platinum truck. I can tell you right off the bat, just going over that speed bump. So every time I come to this Ford dealership, which by the way, this is actually the dealership I purchased my 450 from. When I come in here, they have these pretty aggressive speed bumps. And I can generally tell how stiff or soft the suspension is on one of these trucks by going over those speed bumps. And I'll tell you right off the bat, this truck has a incredibly smooth ride for being a dually. I'm going to just venture out and say, compared to the Ram that I had test driven, the 3500 Tradesman, the ride is really, really different. I'll tell you that it actually feels kind of like the 250 King Ranch that I drove. It's got a very, very smooth ride. Now, what else I can tell you is that the throttle on this truck feels just like the throttle did on that King Ranch that I drove, the 250. Instant throttle. So here we go. Gonna give it some gas. That is ridiculous power and takeoff for a dually truck. I mean, this thing has incredible throttle response. So another thing I'll tell you about this truck, and this particular truck is interesting how it became equipped. So this has every conceivable feature you would want on the truck. It's got the 360 camera, it's got the forward-facing camera, adaptive cruise control. If you don't know what that is, that feature's been around on some cars for a while, but to have it on a truck is pretty amazing. It simply means that when you're following a car and you put cruise control on, you can actually have it match the speed of the car in front of you. So if that car either slows down or speeds up, you'll match that vehicle. Or if you're coming up to a slower moving vehicle, your vehicle will actually slow down. So that's cool. But the biggest thing I want to mention here is this adaptive steering. This is really cool technology. Basically what it does is, instead of you having to turn your steering wheel several more times to turn your wheels, the adaptive steering actually kicks in and it allows you to make smaller turns of the steering wheel to make greater turns of your wheels. Now, it does not kick in at higher speeds. So you don't want that, you don't want the chance that you can oversteer. But when you're taking, like turning out of a parking lot like I just did, that adaptive steering is pretty cool because it really gives you that feeling of not having to really twist that steering wheel so many times. I know it sounds small, but it can become more of an important factor when you're towing, especially when you're trying to negotiate parking lots or if you're backing a trailer in, something like that. And that could definitely be where this truck has a really nice advantage of having that specific feature. So this is the 2017 F350 on the outside. This is the rear suspension. 4 leaf springs with 1 overload. Or 4 main leafs with 1 overload. E-coated frame. This does have the factory puck system. So if you're going to be hitching up a 5th wheel or a gooseneck, you have the gooseneck mount and then the 4 puck holes for the 5th wheel mount. I really like how they're doing these rear glass windows with just the hole cut out for the center. This truck also has the slow opening tailgate with a push of a button. Has the man step, if you haven't seen that. Press that, it slides down, and it just pops into place. So now you can actually do the whole function with one hand. Before, you kind of had to squeeze a little trigger mechanism to prop the back up. Also, it doesn't intrude into the bed at all anymore. So before, a lot of people didn't like that if you're dragging any lumber or anything over it, it would scrape it up real bad. Really easy to access. If you ever wanted to see what the panoramic sunroof looks like from the top, there it is. Another real nice feature of the tailgate, or the bed, I'm sorry, is right here. LED lighting. It even turns on your center mount light. Gives you a lot of good lighting for the bed. And it fades off when you turn it off. For having such a heavy step inside of it, this tailgate is extremely light. I mean, it really takes hardly any effort to close. Here's the passenger side. Of course, this truck is currently running, so this engine is, I would say, quite a bit quieter than the 2016 model, at least from the outside and even from the inside. So the only spot I could find to actually measure the frame thickness is back here at the back bumper area. Zeroed up my caliper. And it measures 0.185. So that's actually a pretty thick channel they use on the Ford Super Duties. Again, that's the only place on this entire frame I could actually access a hole large enough to stick the caliper in. Another thing I like about these new trucks is that the bumper has this little cutout right here. So if you wanted to step up on the back bumper, you could actually do that to access the bed of the truck, which is nice because you know how General Motors has their cutouts right here. This gives you something similar. It doesn't go down quite as low, but then again, you still have the step right here, and you also have the step when you open the tailgate. And then here's the front of the truck with the LED lights all turned on. Really cool setup at night. Just looks really, really great. All the cab lights, of course, are now LED. Even the lights now on the mirrors are LED, and they have this really nice little angle to them. This looks really good. So I want to take a moment here and show you some of the benefits of having proximity key detection. So right now, I'm carrying around this key fob, which is the Ford key fob. As you can see, there's no main key on it. I can either start the truck remotely from here, but let's say that I have my keys in my pocket and I'm about to get into my truck. If I have one free hand and I can't pull the key out of my pocket because my other hand might have a bag or something in, I simply come up and grab the handle and it unlocks the truck. If I want to lock the truck, I simply close it, press the button, and it's locked. Now, it will not open. But again, just grab the handle and it's unlocked. Then I get into the truck, put my foot on the brake, hit the start button, and it starts right up. And that's a huge perk if you've had a vehicle that has push button start versus one that doesn't. Now I'm going to take a second here to show you how the rear view camera works on this, since it does have a 360 camera function. I'll simply put the truck in reverse. As you'll see, 360 degree plus the rear view with the path that I'm taking. And as I back in next to it, you can see very clearly the truck beside me and the trucks behind me. Another thing I'd like to point out is the use of soft touch material now on these new Fords. So this part right here is plastic, but this part right here is all soft touch material all the way around. All of this is soft touch material. You know, a lot of people comment that they see plastic everywhere, but the fact is that's what really cars, the dashes, interiors are pretty much made out of. So they're adding more soft touch trimming. The feel of the buttons are extremely high quality. That's actually aluminum. So this truck does have the 6 upfitter switches up here. If you saw my video on installing the light bar, you'll see the benefit of having upfitter switches that are pre-relayed. You actually have the ability to change a connection around to make, I believe, auxiliary 6 come on even with the engine off and the key out. So if you're going to be using it and you have maybe an overhead warning light that you need to have running, you'd be able to do that. But again, the current Super Duty that I have only has 4 auxiliary switches. This Super Duty adds 2 more, and it puts them in a much better position. Having them up here in the center upper column is definitely a plus over having them down here underneath the radio where they can accidentally be hit. I really love how Ford has upped the wattage to 400 watts on these AC outlets, both here and the one behind the seat. That really actually allows you to use them with things that you never could in the past, such as, you know, using a power drill that might be a corded drill, or even, you know, some equipment that generally would be or pull too much current from the AC outlets that are in the 2016 and below trucks. Anyways, I want to thank everyone for watching my video. I want to thank AutoNation Ford for allowing me to take this truck out and do a review on it with no pressure at all and no sales folks coming with me. I hope you enjoy the content I put out. If you do, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel and like this video. Thanks everyone, and have a wonderful day.